Just when we thought we'd gone too far with max cushion running shoes, a couple of brands decided to put out some super max cushion running shoes and call them premium trainers. So today, let's make a comparison. Today we're talking about the Vomero Premium from Nike versus the Brooks Glycerin Max. What's up everybody, I'm Eric McIntyre, aka Rad Dad Bod, and you're watching Rad Dad Bod TV, where we review running shoes. Now if it's your first time watching one of my videos, you may notice those timestamps below, so feel free to jump around to the various parts of this video, but if you do so, I'd sure appreciate if you come back, watch the full thing when you get a sec, because I put a lot of time and effort into these. Now, disclaimers and disclosures. I did get I got the Vomero Premium for sure for free from Nike for the purpose of review. I think I actually bought the Glycerin Max though, with my own money. Either way, when I do receive a pair of shoes, I'm not given talk tracks, talking points. I'm not usually obligated to make any content. No one watched the videos beforehand. All thoughts are entirely my own. And yeah, so let's talk about the intended use of these shoes. Right, for the most part, you could call them recovery day, max cushion shoes. They're premium trainers, right? So you've got a bunch of premium tech in both of these shoes, and the whole purpose of these is to make running fun, to make running comfortable, and to help ease up on those joints. So that's how we're going to be talking about these shoes today. Now, price. The Vomero Premium comes in at $230. So with all that tech comes a pretty steep price point, and then the Glycerin Max is $200 as well. Now, potentially an unfair comparison, the Glycerin Max came out last year, and I do know that the 2 is coming out, I think, next month. And so I haven't seen what the price point is on the 2 just yet, but my guess is it is going up as well, as every running shoe is basically going up in price year over year right now. Right now, from a specs perspective, let's look at what we've got here. So with the Premium, it is 12.3 ounces, 351 grams. So all that stack, right? And stack wise, we're looking at 55 in the heel, 45 in the forefoot for a 10 millimeter drop. That comes at a premium weight as well. To fit all that technology in there, fit all that stack, you need a heavy shoe. Meanwhile, with the Glycerin Max, it's 10.9 ounces, 309 grams. And then you have 47 in the heel, 41 in the forefoot for a 6 millimeter drop. So it's a little over, it's almost an ounce and a half lighter, but it also is about 8 millimeters shorter, at least in the heel. Now, from a fit perspective, the Max comes in, I would say it's wider overall for a Brooks shoe, true to size length, right? I would probably call it wide foot friendly for the most part as well, but not true wide. The Vomero Premium, kind of similar, true to size length, I would say wide toe box, roomy heel, standard overall midfoot, wide for a Nike, right? Both of these brands tend to run a little bit sleeker, not necessarily pure actual narrow, but a little bit slimmer. So both of these are wide for their respective brands. Now moving to the uppers on the Nike, you have the mono blended engineered mesh. You have a super cushioned tongue, which, let me double check, is gusseted, yes. You have a fairly cushioned heel as well. Now, then on the Glycerin Max, you have a triple layer engineered air mesh, right? So it is also very cushioned. You have a cushioned tongue, very cushioned heel, and the tongue is not gusseted actually. So I thought it was, but the tongue is not gusseted with the Glycerin Max. Now between these two, I would say that honestly, I would say that the Vomero Plus is more breathable. The Glycerin Max is more breathable than you would assume though, but in my notes I wrote down here that the Glycerin Max was super, super cushioned, almost overwhelming, right? I feel the same about the Vomero Premium as far as the tongue goes. I feel like the super max cushioned tongues, while they're comfortable, sometimes it's hard to get the right lockdown on the laces. You almost have to tighten the shoe more than you normally would just to get your foot locked down, because those big tongues are in the way. I do feel that about both of these shoes, right? But overall, if you're not trying to run fast and you're just trying to run easy, you don't need that crazy of lockdown. If you tie them a little bit looser, they end up being just very, very plush, very, very premium. And I feel like the upper experience is very similar between the two of them. However, I would say that if I had to differentiate, the Glycerin Max is a little bit more comfortable, and the Vomero Premium is a little bit more breathable, a little bit sleeker. Now, technology-wise, let's look at those midsoles, because that's where these are kind of crazy. Vomero Premium, you've got the Zoom X, I believe it's a supercritical TPE, and then you have the 2 Zoom AirPods there as well. Just a crazy amount of stack, crazy overall underfoot experience. Meanwhile, the Glycerin Max debuted the new DNA tuned foam for Brooks, which I'm still not 100% the compound, but I do know it's a supercritical nitrogen infused foam. And the big thing here was that they found a way to have 2 different densities where you can kind of see there's a yellow foam inside the white carrier foam. So there's actually that yellow foam is going to be a little bit firmer, and then the white foam is going to be a little bit softer, and there's more yellow in the forefoot, more white in the heel. So what that means is you have a nice cushy heel when you land down, and then as you move forward, it rolls you through and gets a little bit more responsive, a little bit firmer, a little bit better toe off. Meanwhile, with the Vomero Premium, it's just all cushion all the way through and a lot of bounce underfoot. So I would say the Glycerin Max is softer and a little bit more smooth in how it rolls through. Meanwhile, the Vomero Premium is just pure bounce. It's very bouncy. It does compress, but when you do have kind of those Zoom Air pods, they are a little bit firmer underfoot in comparison. So a little firmer feeling, but bouncier, a little softer and smoother rolling through, less energy return, I think, on the Glycerin Max. And then from a stability standpoint, I actually found the Vomero Premium to be a little unstable just because of all that super high stack. If you're running on like super flat ground, you're normally pretty fine, but when I was running on some roads where the angle was a little bit steeper on the side of the road, on the shoulder there, I did feel kind of rolling over a little bit in the Vomero Premium. Not enough that, you know, I was worried about anything, but I also don't need stability shoes for my ankles. So, you know, I do think though the Glycerin Max a little bit more stable overall, but a little bit less dynamic in comparison. Now, from a pace versatility standpoint, I think the top end speed of the Vomero Premium is faster than the Glycerin Max, but the Glycerin Max as well surprisingly picks up pretty well, but both of them are just chunky. So they're going to be a little bit clunky if you're trying to go fast. While they can maybe get you there, you know, obviously you're going to want something lower to the ground, a little bit more responsive overall, a little less cushy if you're wanting to do some speed work. But for those recovery runs, for those easy runs, both of these shoes, a lot of fun. Now, I found that the Glycerin Max felt heavy. I didn't feel quite as much on the Vomero Premium despite being about 1.5 ounces heavier. So I do think that the additional responsiveness is doing a lot of carrying in the Vomero Premium in comparison. Now, moving to the outsoles, you have the high abrasion rubber in the waffle pattern on the Premium, and then you have the blown rubber on the Brooks. And I think both of these are solid overall outsoles, no concerns, nothing in my notes about any worries with either of the outsoles of these shoes, but they're also not going to be, you know, I'm not going to be doing like the workouts in these shoes where I'm going to be super concerned about what I'm feeling underfoot as far as traction. Both of them are probably equal on that front. And then from a durability standpoint, I mean, wear and tear is almost equal. I actually think I have closer to 50 miles on the Glycerin Max and then 35-ish probably on the Premiums. And yeah, wear and tear is looking pretty equal overall. So no big or real concerns with either shoe. Now, as far as my pick between the two, surprisingly, I'm going Vomero Premium. Vomero Premium has, I mean, the price point is really, that's a really hard pill to swallow on the price. And frankly, like, if I wasn't a shoe reviewer, I probably, like, just full transparency, if I wasn't a shoe reviewer, I'm probably not buying these shoes, right? Yes, I still buy a lot with my own money. I bought, you know, the Glycerin Max with my own money. And I've bought a lot of super premium shoes, like $300. I've even paid extra money on like StockX or Kicks Crew and stuff to get them because I wasn't able to get stuff off of initial launch, and brands aren't going to send sometimes some of the super premium stuff. So those do come out of pocket a lot more. Like when I buy a pair of shoes, it tends to be 200 plus. But the reason why I do that is because I am a running shoe reviewer, and so I want to be testing the latest, greatest, the highest tech, the most interesting shoes out there, right? If I'm not a shoe reviewer, I have a hard time seeing myself find something like these to fit into my rotation, and that doesn't mean that they're not good shoes, right? Don't confuse that. It doesn't mean that they're not good shoes. It doesn't mean they're not fun. They're a lot of fun, but let's not kid ourselves. Premium price tags, right? Premium product, they are a luxury even for most runners, right? Who have running shoe rotation. So that being said, off of pure enjoyment between the two, I think I do go Vomero Premium. I think that that is a bouncier, more fun experience between the two. And frankly, just like, I'm not a huge fan of overly soft max cushion style shoes for like long runs and stuff and easy runs. I just prefer something lighter usually. And so like I said, I noticed the weight less in the Vomero Premium despite it being heavier, just because the bounce, there's more bounce there. So I do give it the edge. But the Glycerin Max, it is a very comfortable, very fun shoe to still run in. And so I don't want to discount that. But neither of these are shoes, again, I think if I'm not a running shoe reviewer, if I'm not a content creator, really, really hard to justify the price tags for either of these. It is what it is. Anyway, just some final thoughts. Super premium category, super cushion, super max cushion shoes. Crazy overall. It really is a super unique thing that brands are doing, and they are a lot of fun. I'll be curious to see who else joins the ranks in 2026. Are we going to see more shoes like this that are really kind of premium, geared towards recovery? We'll see, but if I had to guess, I would probably say yes. So anyway, if you watched this far, I sure appreciate you. Let me know in the comments what questions you have, what other comparisons you'd like to see, and what I could be doing better as a reviewer. And if you watched this far and you haven't yet hit that subscribe button, please consider doing so today. Leave a like, leave a comment, and turn on those notifications. If you'd like to support the channel, please consider using any of the affiliate links in the description below. I have codes to Fuel Goods as well as Wallico. Rad Dad gets you 10% off at Fuel Goods for any running fuel, and Rad Dad 20 gets you 20% off any Wallico. I use specifically their running tights. Both the half and the full length distance tights are my favorites just because of the storage there. So go ahead, get yourselves a discount, and it also goes back to support the channel. Lastly, let's just finish out, leave you with a question, which is, what is your favorite super premium running shoe on the market? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks, everybody.